Clemson Tom on the line. So, Clemson Tom, if you're there, go ahead. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, I finally got some cell phone reception.
Oh, that's well. It's a beautiful day to be out on the lake, and a beautiful day to be a Tiger. I mean, finally come back to home to Death Valley in a month. So, it's about time. Went through withdrawal. Good grief. I mean,
It does seem longer than a month. It does. Therefore, I don't know what we're going to look like in Orange. I kind of forgot.
I know. I mean, it's been forever since that FSU game. But tell us about the. I thought the video was the new one you made was pretty hilarious. Just tell us a little bit about that and the idea behind it.
I did the library prank call a few years ago, and everybody loved it. So I figured, why not do it again? It's working. It's working. And then I always call 3 years running. I call the fraternity there and just talk to them like I'm a member. And the next thing you know, that he's just spilling his guts on how bad he hates Paul Johnson too. So I'm wondering how Paul Johnson still has a job, especially that offense that's geared around the 1930s.
Yeah, and how great was it when they were talking about how they were so glad to get rid of Radakovich, and now he's here at Clemson. Radakovich, sorry.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, for a minute I had to think because it kind of took me by surprise. I'm like, wait a minute, that's our new guy. But when it comes to certain things like director sets and putting up buildings, when it comes to football, they're not smart. So that's probably why they wanted to get rid of Radakovich, and we're obviously glad to have him because he's definitely changed us around here.
Well, what do you think about the game tonight? And hopefully it'll be a good crowd out there to support the Tigers. And hopefully we'll get a win tonight. What are you thinking about the game versus the honeycombs or whatever you call the helmets? But what do you think about it tonight?
The Yellow Jackets, the Honeybees. I don't know what they're calling themselves. Honestly, I don't think they really know. I think Georgia Tech's going to keep it close early. That offense, just talking to some of the defensive players I know, it's tough to scheme for because that's all you see. You don't really see a bunch of teams running it. It's not like something you can just plan for because everybody kind of runs something similar. But I do think they'll keep it close. They like to milk the clock. That's kind of the scheme to stop us, just to keep Sammy and Taj off the field. So I think going to halftime is going to be closer to what we like. We'll definitely be, up. But towards the end, the cream will rise to the top as usual. We're going to pull it in. But I expect a lot of tackles for the linebackers and probably a little bit of defensive ends. But the linebackers are pretty much key to stopping more quadruple option to the receiver, tight end, center, to left tackle, whatever they decide to do with the ball.
Talk about being a wide receiver and going to Georgia Tech. I thought that was a good take you had on it. I mean, heck, when you only get the ball 5 times a year, I don't understand why you want to go there.
I might just start walking on it. That's what it takes to get a full scholarship. I mean, I could go back and get a different degree. I already got the business degree. Might have to go ahead and get a master's. If I can get into shape, because I don't have to play. I got to block somebody. That's all you have to do. I might just walk on to Georgia Tech, and I'm never going to play against Clemson. I'll just pull up a hamstring in practice. But I don't see how they can recruit these guys because being a quarterback, they only throw the ball 4 or 5 times a game, and a receiver you're never catching. So guys, if you want to go get a free education at Georgia Tech, I think we found the secret. Just pretend to play football.
That's right. But hopefully the Tigers, now hopefully move on to a BCS Bowl. What do you think about, still a lot to play for this season. How about Taj Boyd going out on a high note here at the last couple games in Death Valley? What do you think about him and kind of, I guess sum up the career you think he's had here at Clemson and hopefully go out on a high note beating Georgia Tech and South Carolina. So,
yeah. I expect us to beat Georgia Tech and, beat the Citadel. And he's only 3 touchdowns away from having the Clemson record. So I think we'll see the broken. But if he wants to go on, we all win. That's in 2 weeks. So that's where everyone's going to be looking. If he wants to cement his legacy as one of the greatest, he has to beat South Carolina, and I think we all know that. And it would be a shame for Taj and Sammy to not beat South Carolina while they're at Clemson. It doesn't roll off the tongue, right? It doesn't feel good when you say it because you know how talented they are and you know how bad we hate them and they pretty much despise us as well. And I don't know if I can handle 5 in a row, guys, to be honest with you.
Oh, no, I don't know if we can either. So hopefully we can go over there and change that this year. I think if Taj can just play his game and trust himself. He's got all the not trying to press. I mean, we'll beat them. They're not as good this year. Of course, they move up 2 spots in the rankings when we're off, and we drop. What do you think about Clemson dropping? I mean, you can't really help it if you're off.
Yeah, no, that's one of the bad things of having an off week. Them being in the top 10 with 2 losses is a complete bias to the SEC. I mean, they keep pounding the chest how they beat Missouri, and I didn't think Missouri was all that great. They did beat some teams in the East to get up there, but the East is horrible. Florida has lost all their main players. When they beat Georgia, it might as well have been you and I out there playing football. They were all like their 4th-string players. And when we played them, they had all their starters, except for the receiver who was an idiot that hurt himself in the end zone. But Missouri was kind of a fraud. They are talented, but their record didn't quite. The record looked like they were better than what they were. And South Carolina goes up in there and squeaks by on a botched field goal over there. And South Carolina thinks they're going to win the NFC East every year, which is completely ridiculous. But I really hate them. I wish they'd lose every game. And if they dropped their football program over there in Columbia, I definitely wouldn't shed a tear.
Well,
probably throw a parade.
Right. Well, they lost to Tennessee, who is just a terrible team this year. And well, if we lose to the team that goes to the national championship, that's not a bad loss. But I saw you put on Twitter. What do you think about this? This story coming out on Jameis Winston. I really hope it's nothing's made of it, because I think he's a good player and I think he's a good kid. So I mean, I think sometimes that's just a little of the media trying to get after people and just make a story, but
yeah, that definitely is. Looking at the police report last night, I was driving when I retweeted it, and I kind of forgot that story came out because he was second string last year, and no one cares who your second string quarterback is, really. And talking to some of my Florida State friends, that's like a really, really old story. It's almost like your girlfriend getting mad because you lied to her a year ago, and you kind of already took her to dinner and smoothed things over. And then the police report says the lady saying the guy was like 5'10" to 6 foot, and Jameis is 6'4". I mean, you can't get 6'4" and 5'11" mixed up. I'm 5'11", 6 foot. Depending on what kind of shoes I got on. But you're not going to say I'm 6'4". So I think someone leaked it out. It was probably someone from Texas A&M trying to get Johnny some votes, or someone from Baylor, or it could have even been Alabama. But they needed something to talk about, and to throw him under the bus like that it's classless, but it's the world we live in, especially with social media. The fact that it went viral within 5 minutes just shows you the power of social media these days. But I think it's complete garbage. Just knowing the people that know him around the program, that's just not the type of guy he is. Even when he speaks and the way he acts, hey, Jameis Winston, you don't need to do something with the charges say he does. Just stand outside the sorority road for 5 minutes. You're going to find the date pretty easily.
Yeah, and that's a case from December of last year, so it's kind of odd that it's coming up now when he's being a successful quarterback. But just talking about this group of seniors and how this is their last ACC matchup, their last big game in the Valley. You've got Taj and then Sammy, who's probably going to go to the draft. Can you just sum up the career that these seniors and juniors that are heading to the NFL, just sum up their careers, not just Taj's, but the senior class as a whole?
Yeah, well, when they came in, they were coming to Clemson, so they had high hopes already. And then, was it a few years ago, we didn't have that great of a season. It was probably one of the worst ones in history that I can remember. But these guys, looking back, once they go to the pros, they can say that they're a part of Clemson that got turned around. I think what we're doing, recruiting-wise with the coaches, is we're turning everything around. We have a new mentality, that whole Clemsoning thing where you lose to Wake Forest on Thursday night, kind of out the window, and that's put on those guys' shoulders. So that's something they can be proud of. Even if we do lose that last game of the season, or if we don't have a very good bowl game, we've definitely cemented ourselves with a really good foundation of leadership with these guys right here. So they are definitely the building blocks going forward with all the younger guys. The younger guys definitely need to step up next year, because the leadership that we have now, you can't replace that.
No, and I just think, I'm glad I'm going to be at the game so I don't have to listen to the Three Stooges that call it. I mean, my God. Thursday night football was better, sometimes I watch the NFL now. I mean, good grief. I mean, can we get some better people in the booth to call the game?
Well, I don't know if Greenville's ball got an express, but I'm pretty sure that what's his name?
Jesse Palmer.
Yeah, bought them out of skinny ties and tight shirts with some weird plaid things on there. But I'm on the lookout for him today.
There you go.
I'm not saying I'm gonna do nothing to him, but I'm definitely gonna let him. I'm gonna verbally let him know how we feel about him here in Clemson because.
Well, and Reese Davis too. He's okay, but he's a Bammer. I mean, he's a homer. So
the bias in the.
I mean,
is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just hope they can pronounce the player's name. It's not like you can pronounce Shuey wrong.
Right.
And Dabo, if you're an announcer, you should know the head coach's name. I can see Shuey maybe once or twice, and then someone tells you. But they murder all the names. I'm surprised they can pronounce stars right. I mean, who knows of these guys? They go in there acting like it's the first day on the job. They ain't never called a game before. But I really hate Jesse Palmer. I have a friend of mine dated his roommate in college. Apparently, he likes to party a little bit too much and come home and pee in the sinks. That's his story.
Well, once again, we're talking to Clemson Tom on Checking the Southland Sports. And before we let you get out of here, you want to make your picks real quick? We started a little pick'em contest. You can, if you want to, you can, or if not, But thanks for coming on this morning, and go Tigers.
Yeah, what's the pick?
Well, we got Auburn, Georgia, and Auburn is a 4-point favorite in that one. So we're just kind of doing we picked 4 games of the week, then an upset pick. So
I'll take Georgia.
Okay, and then Oklahoma State and Texas. Oklahoma State's a 3-point favorite.
3-point. Where's it being played at?
I think. Where is that? It's
in Texas.
In Texas.
I'll take Texas.
Okay, and then USC and Stanford. That's the real USC, the one in California.
No,
But
Stanford has this play. Stanford has this play where they run the ball up the middle, and you just can't stop it. It's great.
Right. And then Clemson. You're probably taking Clemson minus 10.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you upset pick. I mean, who do you think in the top 25 may get beat this? You got some games for us, Bradley? Any possible upsets this week?
Yeah, there's a few games we've got. Of course, the Oklahoma State-Texas game, which Texas isn't favored in that one, so that's kind of an upset. And then Miami-Duke. Miami's still in the top 25, so that could definitely be an upset with the way Duke's playing versus the way Miami's playing. We've got Wisconsin, Indiana. Louisville-Houston could be interesting. Arizona State, Oregon State. Oregon State came to the season with high expectations. Michigan State, Nebraska. There's a few games. Of course, we got that Florida-South Carolina game, but I don't really think Florida's going to give South Carolina much trouble. Utah, Oregon. I know Oregon's coming off that loss, but Utah's the only team that's beaten Stanford this season, so you never know.
And didn't Utah beat Stanford? Or was that
Utah beat Stanford. So
keep an eye on that one. But Florida might be playing their 4th string. Quarterback they got now is kind of hurt, so don't be surprised if you see some guy come out of the stands, put on the jersey to play, because they're running out of players there.
Yeah, they are. So, all right, Clemson Tom, thanks for joining us this morning, and go Tigers. Maybe we'll see you down there tonight.
Well, I'm for it, baby. Let's get it on.
All right, there we go. All right, that's Clemson Tom.